அதை சொல்றதுக்கு நீ யாரா நாயே?
இதுதான் வந்து எனக்கு வந்து இன்னும் ட்ரிகர் பண்ணும்.
There's two types of people in the world.
இப்ப சொன்ன பாத்தியா, பியூட்டி இஸ் வெரி சப்ஜெக்டிவ்.
ஐயோ அது எனக்கு புரியுது. நீங்க அசிங்கமா இருந்தீங்கன்னா அட்டென்ஷன் கொடுப்பீங்களா? கொடுப்பியாடா? ஹைன்னு சொன்னாலே வந்து அது ஃபுல்லா வந்து அதெல்லாம் வந்து கண்டிப்பா நான் லவ் பண்ணதில்ல.
அந்த மாதிரி இருந்தா மேமாங் நாசமா தான் போவோம்.
But first and foremost, thank you so much for coming. I always start off any of our conversations with a very, very typical, but I really feel very important question. எப்படி இருக்கீங்க ஃபர்ஸ்ட்? இது யாரும் கேட்க மாட்டாங்க.
நான் இது எப்பவும் கேக்குறது. Every time I call somebody, the first question I ask them, நல்லா இருக்கீங்களா?
அது இப்போ வந்து அது அவுட் ஆஃப் ஃபேஷனாகவே ஆகி போயிடுச்சுல. அப்படி கேட்டால் வந்து என்ன ரொம்ப ஃபார்மலாக பேசுகிறீங்கன்னு சொல்லுவாங்க.
People actually, I notice that it calms people down. And then they,
it puts things
puts them into like a comfort zone.
Yeah.
But I have been doing this for a very long time. So the first thing I do, நல்லா இருக்கீங்களா?
இப்போ என்ன பண்ணுறீங்க எல்லாம் யாருமே கேட்க மாட்டாங்க.
யாரும் கேட்க மாட்டாங்க.
இப்போ நான் வந்து ஈவன் இட் இஸ் அவர் 5th எபிசோட்லேயே நான் எல்லாருக்கிட்டையும் கேட்கும்போது ஆஃப் த கேமரா கேட்கும்போது என்னடா இவ்வளோ ஃபார்மலாக பேசுகிறேன், என்ன இது நான் இப்படி தானே கேட்கணும், எல்லாரும் கேட்க மறந்துட்டோன்னு சொல்லி. ஸோ ஹவ் ஆர் யூ டூயிங்? வாட்ஸ் ஹேப்பனிங்?
I'm good. I'm good. No complaints.
இது நான் வந்து சாரி எடுத்தோன்னே கட் ஆஃப் பண்ணுறேன் நினைக்கக்கூடாது. பட் நான் லாஸ்ட் மெட் யூ இன் பர்சன் தான் கேட்டிருந்தேன். லாஸ்ட் எப்போ மீட் பண்ணேன்னு சொல்லும் போது வந்து ஒரு I think it's about 4 years ago, right before COVID.
Yeah.
அப்போ பார்த்த சங்கீதாக்கும் இப்போ பார்க்குற சங்கீதாக்கும் ஐ ஃபீல் இட்ஸ் த சேம் லெவல் ஆஃப் மேட்னஸ்ன்னு சொல்ல முடியாது, பட் சேம் லெவல் ஆஃப் அந்த இஃப் யூ ஆல்வேஸ் லுக் லைக் யூ அபவுட் டு go to the next one. முடிச்சியா கேள்விக்கிட்டு முடிச்சியா அடுத்தது இருக்கு அந்த மாதிரியே இருக்கு. ஸோ are you actually that, or is this part of your personality that you put up?
Like I said, I when I meet creative people like you, I get very excited because I know like I'm about to have interesting conversation with you. You know,
a lot of pressure.
So yeah, we've always had interesting conversations, right? So adanala I feel I'm okay. I'm this person. Not just because I'm an actor, but no matter how bad something is around me or something is affecting me or whatever, you'll never see that. Because I don't tend to take things that could affect me in that sense too seriously. I try to compartmentalize, and then I'm like you always see a happy me. I don't think you've ever met somebody or you will meet somebody who will tell you that, oh God, she was in such a bad mood. I don't think so.
As you're saying, no one will tell me that they've ever seen you in a bad mood.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because you're good at faking
I can't remember the last time I was in a bad mood.
Okay.
That
should don't jinx that. Okay.
Yeah, that should.
Okay.
So yeah,
but why
life is exciting, right?
What's been the top of your life these days?
Okay, so
don't talk to me about movies. I'm not interested to know. I mean, I am interested, but I'm not talking about in the project பண்றேன் ஜோஷுவா, அந்த ப்ராஜெக்ட் பண்றேன் ஜோஷுவா. But in terms of, because நான் ஏன் கேட்குறேன்னா ஒரு சேயிங் இருக்கு. நம்ம தமிழ் கல்ச்சர்ல வந்து மாப்பிள்ளை பார்க்குறாங்க, எந்த மாதிரி மாப்பிள்ளை வரும், அரவிந்த் சுவாமி மாதிரி பாருங்கன்னு சொல்லுவாங்க. அதாவது அரவிந்த் சுவாமி நான் வந்து ஒரு போஸ்டர் பாய் ஃபார் ஒரு how you would want a guy to look.
Okay.
இல்லையா, லைக் தி சமத்தா ஒரு முடி, if you see like ரோஜா and all that, அரவிந்த் சுவாமியோட லுக்கே அப்படி தான் இருக்கும் இல்லையா. அரவிந்த் சுவாமி ஒரு பையன் பாருங்கன்னு சொல்லுவாங்க. because he fits into this prototype or archetype of a man that you would want to marry. This is apparently what I've heard. I wouldn't know because I'm not interested in men. அதே மாதிரி நான் இந்த எக்ஸாம்பிள் சொல்கிறேன்னா, my earliest memory of you relates to this. I won't tell who told me this, but when your name first popped up in my radar, which is I was in school at that time. You're not that old, but when I was in school, I obviously heard of you then. யார் இப்போ ஒரு ஒய்ஃப், ஒரு கேர்ள் ஃப்ரெண்ட், ஒரு கல்யாணம் பண்ணுறதுக்கு பொண்ணு பார்த்தா இவங்க மாதிரி தான் இருக்கணும்னு சொல்லி அவங்க பேர் சொன்னாங்க. ஏன்டா இதெல்லாம் என்கிட்ட சொல்லும் போது then that's when obviously I had to look it up. And like so you obviously been that girl, that it girl ன்னு சொல்லாமா, இப்போ தெரியல, இப்போ வந்து அந்த வார்த்தை வேறு மாதிரி ஃபீல் பண்ணுது. பட் அப்போ வந்து you always been that it girl. சங்கீதா, that girl.
Okay.
Since then and now until almost how many years have you been around in the industry, or just being present? It will feel like what does it feel like? And let's start with, you've always been under some sort of like, there's a spotlight on you. Yeah.
I no, I mean for me it's never been okay. I think you know me as a person, right? People who know me as a person, I have been the same person. You know, I have been in the industry for now 11 years full time. I think I don't feel அந்த மாதிரி யோசனையே வந்ததில்லை first of all. And then I think to myself, you know, because for me, something that I think something that comes from my family, you know, from my grandmother, from my father and all that, honor your job, you know. So that's what I have been doing. I've been trying to honor my job, and I've been trying to sort of like, you know, be that person that doesn't get affected by, you know, I mean, any job that you go into, there is negativity, there will be things that pull you down and stuff like that. But I have been standing in the sense that I want to honor my job. I want to do this properly. I want to do it perfectly, you know. But all of these other things, I tell you, is very interesting because இந்த விஷயம்லாம் வந்துட்டு நான் வந்து யோசிக்க மாட்டேன். Okay. But my grandfather told me something.
Okay.
My grandfather passed away in February this year.
Okay. Sorry about
And
that.
So one of the things that you asked me, right? How's life going? There has been a lot of loss in my family in the last 1 year, 6 months, 7 months. So it has taken a toll on me in that sense emotionally because, you know, it's not easy dealing with something like that. You go through grief in different stages and ways. But last year, there was a newspaper article, I think, that came out of me. So my grandfather used to share பண்ணுவாரு. My grandfather வந்துட்டு இதெல்லாம் படிச்சுட்டு எனக்கு ஷேர் பண்ணுவாரு. So I'm like so cute, no? So
is your number one fan, you think?
I was his number one fan.
Cute.
I'm not sure whether he was mine. He didn't have to be, you know. He was a great being. What am I, right? Still learning. But ஒரு விஷயம் சொன்னார். நான் வந்துட்டு அப்போ வந்துட்டு அதில் என்னமோ எழுதியிருந்தாங்க. I mean, you know lah, newspapers வந்துட்டு usually நான் தான் சொல்கிறது படிக்கிறதெல்லாம் நம்பக்கூடாது because usually they will toko tamba and tulis because they want people to read it.
Engagement வேணும் இல்லையா?
You know, so they want to know and all of this information yang sebenarnya like tak kukuh lah. It doesn't have any factual standing.
There's a sense of
it's just
மிகப்படுத்தி
you know,
ஏதாச்சும் இருக்கும் இல்லையா?
Yeah. So I mean, for me, journalists have to do their job lah. So அதனால, you know, for me, unless அது completely something erratic that's going to like make people question your integrity, அதெல்லாம் வேற lah. But they don't. Honestly, the media in this country have been very kind to me. So அதனால நான் சொல்லாத விஷயம் என்னமோ எழுதியிருந்தாங்க. So நான் அப்போ வந்து தாத்தாட்ட சொன்னேன். அப்போ தாத்தா எனக்கு அந்த ஆர்டிக்கல் அனுப்பினப்போ நான் சொன்னேன், தாத்தா நான் இதெல்லாம் சொல்லவே இல்லை தாத்தா, இதெல்லாம் அவங்களே எழுதியிருக்காங்க. ஸோ he told me, he said, மா நான் ஒரு விஷயம் சொல்கிறேன், யூனோ, நீ இது வந்துட்டு you have to understand is part of your job, சரியா? You are an actor. நீ வந்துட்டு உன் வேலையை பார்த்துட்டு நீ இதெல்லாம் செய்கிற. பட் உனக்குன்னு ஒரு லைஃப் இருக்குது, உனக்குன்னு ஒரு இது இருக்குது. ஃபேமிலி knows who you are, your friends know who you are and all that. ஆனால் வெளியே இருக்கிறவங்களுக்கு வந்து உன் மேலே ஒரு பெர்செப்ஷன் இருக்கும், யூனோ. ஸோ அதுக்காக தான் இதெல்லாம் வந்து செய்கிறது. ஸோ யூ ஜஸ்ட் ஹேவ் டு அக்செப்ட் இட் அண்ட் கோ அண்ட் ஜஸ்ட் கோ வித் த ஃப்ளோ, he said. You know, so I never thought about this of what you said to me about what kind of opinion people have outside. I never thought about that until he told me this last year, you know, because I'm like ஒரு கூடை வந்துட்டு எங்கேயும் மறைச்சிட்டு இருப்பாங்களா?
You're on your own path. You don't really care about what other.
It's not that I don't care, but I think sometimes
you're oblivious to opinions about yourself.
Sometimes I think you know, I have had situations where it has affected me. You know, people have said this, but I don't allow it to affect me to a point where it affects my job. So because நான் சொன்ன மாதிரி, my work is my honor. I want to honor my job. You know, I want to do everything that's, you know, for me, கலை உலகம் வந்துட்டு, for me, when I first came into the industry, I always think to myself, எல்லா என்ன எப்படி சொல்லுவாங்க, எல்லாம் ப்ரொஃபஷனுக்கும் ஒரு தெய்வம் இருப்பாங்க. அதே மாதிரி கலை உலகத்துக்கு ஒரு தெய்வம் இருக்காங்க. Because when I learned Kalaripayat, my master Rahman tells me the same thing as well. He said, இந்த கலைக்கு அவங்களுக்கு ஒரு தெய்வம் இருப்பாங்க, அது மதிச்சு நம்ம இருந்தா everything will go its way. So I feel like that.
Do you like validation? Validation, எல்லாரும் validation தப்பா வார்த்தையே பேசிட்டு இருக்காங்க.
Depends. If my validation comes from a point where I have done something really good. Okay, katakan macam when I did Adi Wiraku, right? The validation that I loved was the fact that teachers were inspired
Yeah.
and they came and told me. And then there was one incident where there was a person, kannu parva illada ஒரு person வந்துட்டு actually was set in the cinema, and he,
Just listening to
visually
the-
impaired, but he was listening to the narration and there was tears rolling down his eyes. So those kind of things, validation, because that means that we are doing something right in the industry as creative people. அந்த மாதிரி validation memang I suka lah. But I'm not the kind of person that I read my comments and people send me messages on Instagram. I try my best to reply, but I'm not the kind of person that my whole life is obsessed with okay, why people haven't commented, kenapa orang tak suka, kenapa orang tak tulis, oh they're saying this, saying that. No, I'm not that sort of validation. Is not something that I think is unhealthy lah, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I'm not like that at all.
You're not, of course.
Yeah, not at all. Just that it's part of my livelihood, that's all. Anyways,
Depends on what job you do, I think.
True. But even for me, I have a very unhealthy relationship with engagement. ஏன்னா வந்து yes, I can only justify, like what you just said, yeah, I can justify it saying that no, I have ADHD, or I have this need for validation எல்லாம் நான் சொல்லிக்கலாம். But உண்மை என்னதுன்னா வந்து there's some level of issues that we have. I have a very unhealthy obsession with ஏன் இன்னும் comment பண்ணாம இருக்கானுங்க,
With wanting to know what people are saying.
Correct. And that's weird because I've been doing this for எத்தனை ஒரு 5-6 வருஷமா பண்ணிட்டு இருக்கேன். So which means I've gotten the highest of compliments, I've gotten the lowest of trolls. But it's still
for me, I think it's good because நான் எப்போதும் இன்டர்வியூ செய்யும் போது இல்லைன்னா some series of mine or film of mine is coming out, I tell people, please give us constructive criticisms. Why? Because it helps us improve. எல்லாமே நல்லதா சொல்லிக்கிட்டே இருந்தாலும் it's like how are we going to improve, right?
True.
So constructive criticism I suka. But sometimes people find that they have, just for the sake of like they're in some bad mood, they just come and lepaskan like just I'm just going to write
I
this
always
today.
say I always say this to whoever that I work with, or whoever that's like our interns, whoever that's talking to, என்ன எப்படி நான் எப்படிலாம் பேசுறாங்க most of the time in the comment இந்த இதெல்லாம் வந்து it's not their opinion about you, it is their opinion about themselves which they're projecting on you.
That's right.
அவன் சொல்றத வந்து சொல்லுவான், ஏன்னா அவனுக்குள்ள ஒரு இன்செக்யூரிட்டி இருக்கும், அவனுக்குள்ள அவனை பத்தி ஒரு ஜட்ஜ்மெண்ட் இருக்கும்.
Correct.
They just pass it on to you because it's easier to project on someone than.
That's true. I had an incident I think I would like to share, which shocked me for the first time. During pandemic, என்ன நடந்துச்சுன்னா, there was this also my tata sent me. He sent me, I miss him on WhatsApp.
தாத்தா பேர் சொல்லாமா?
ராமகிருஷ்ணன்.
ஓகே.
So தாத்தா வந்து எனக்கு ஒரு வீடியோ அனுப்பினார். Because அந்த டைம்ல because everybody had anxiety because என்ன நடக்குது, first time we are going through something like this, என்ன நடக்குதுன்னு தெரியல, you don't know what the future is, and then you're so scared of your loved ones and people that you know and children and all of this. So Tata sent me a video that actually there was this lady, she was admitted, not in Malaysia, in UK, and she was suffering lah, basically. Okay, so and she was a mother, so what she was trying to explain was, she said when she's breathing it felt like glass shrapnels in the lung. So obviously when you see something like that, I am a person who don't like to, if something is not verified, something is not if I feel like it's going to trigger people or something, I won't share things like that. But for some reason I put macam, I'm human too, right? So I'm also in a pandemic now. We are all like stuck at home and like so I'm like, oh God, okay, this is bad. So maybe I said, if I shared this, maybe this would be good for people, because now I'm looking at this and I'm like, God, like, okay, I'm never going to send my mom outside. I'd rather go and do things like, she's not even going to step out to like pick up stuff from like delivery or whatever, because it's good to be cautious, right? So நான் என்ன செஞ்சேன், அந்த வீடியோவை ஷேர் பண்ணிட்டு and I said, like, let's be careful, okay? ஷேர் பண்ணிட்டு நான் வந்து சூப்பர் மார்க்கெட் போயிட்டேன். So I didn't check my phone, obviously. நான் ஃபோன்லாம் செக் பண்ணல. ஒரு 1 hour கழிச்சு when I was back at home, I just randomly went check, பார்த்தா hundreds of messages, hundreds of comments, அதில் is when I was like, oh God, why so negative? Why so negative? No? So macam அதில் வந்து ஒரு ஆள் யாரோ வந்து கமெண்ட் பண்ணியிருக்காங்க, ஓ இது வந்து இல்லை, இது வந்து லைக் ஸ்கேம் lah, obviously like some scam video that somebody did and all of these things வந்துட்டு
Fake news.
போட்டாங்களா, fake news lah basically. ஸோ அப்போ தான் எனக்கு ரியலைஸ் பண்ணேன், ஓ அதில் என்ன கமெண்ட்ஸ் தெரியுமா, ஓ பெரிய நினைப்பா, லைக் சம்திங், ஓ நீங்கள் பெரிய ஆக்டர், நல்ல இதில்
You're an actor, you should have checked first.
கரெக்ட்,
பெரிய ஆகாயத்துல இருந்து விழுந்த மாதிரி.
அப்புறம் ஊத்திக்கிச்சா இந்த மாதிரிலாம். I'm like, what is this, you know?
அது அந்த அடிவேல நடிச்ச ஒரு அந்த வீடியோ, அந்த படத்துக்கு கூட அவ்வளோ கமெண்ட்ஸ் வந்திருக்காது.
ஆமா. So that's when I realized that it's as if people have been waiting for me to make a mistake so they can attack me.
Correct.
It's like they were waiting for that moment. And for me it was very shocking because people have been always very kind to me on my
Social
comments
media.
and all of that. And it's also because I don't open myself up to stuff, you know. I've always been very quiet, right? Not quiet lah, but I like to engage in like conversations, but then I feel macam the social media platform has become a place for people to rant.
Yeah.
You know, which is okay, which is fine. It's just I don't feel like I want to be in that sort of reality, you know, because you can get sucked into it, right? It's like a black hole gun. So அப்பதான் எனக்கு ஒரு realization வந்துச்சு, oh my god, நான் சொன்னேன், people have been waiting to attack me. Oh god, I said. So you know what I did? I deleted that comment, that post. I deleted it because I'm like, never mind lah. Why you want to get people riled up? Maybe it's affecting people and triggering people. So I posted. I said, I'm sorry. You're right. I should have verified it. Right? Over 2 days kalichi, it was reported in Guardian newspaper that it was true. You know. It came out in the Guardian newspaper and the UK newspapers that story was actually true. It was verified and it came out from one of the UK hospitals. Then I was thinking to myself, should I post this again? And you know, maybe, you know, then I say never mind, like, okay la. But I tell you, it was like a revelation for me, Therma. Now my god, people are just waiting for you to waiting just to like. So it made me kind of sad, to be honest with you. But then just for one day. Then I spoke to my tata. Then I dismissed it. And I'm like, okay, it's okay. People, for me, honestly, people are entitled to their opinion. It's fine.
On a day-to-day basis, when you know, obviously you get up, you do your own things, you've got things that you actually 5,000 things that you do in a day.
Not 5,000 things, but okay.
4,999.
I wish I could do 5,000 things.
What gives you that sense of happiness and purpose? Because அந்த கேள்வி நான் ஏன் கேட்குறேன், இது ஜஸ்ட் டு கிளீஷேவாக ஒரு என்ன சொல்கிறது, ஒரு இன்டெலெக்சுவலாக கேள்வி கேட்கணும்னு அவசியம், அதுக்கு காரணம் இல்லை. பிகாஸ் இந்த கேள்வி நானே எனக்கு ரொம்ப கேட்டுப்பேன். பிகாஸ் எண்ட் ஆஃப் த டே I am still struggling to find that answer.
I get that.
And I like to ask that to people who are, for the lack of a better word, who are obviously have done it or been successful, have reached certain milestones, not all milestones, I'm sure, but certain milestones. Is it still easy to be happy?
Yeah, because, you know, okay, there are big things happening around you, right? You have big responsibilities, but you should never forget the small things around you, can. So for me, like if I feed a cat, I'm happy, very happy. It makes me very happy. You know, if I get to help like you know, any animal in that sense, you know, because I'm an animal lover, you know that. So if I can do that, it makes me happy. If I can help somebody who's in need, it doesn't even need to be like monetary. It's like even a call. Somebody needs to talk to you. Hey, I have this problem, you know, what do you think? Can I talk to you for a bit? And if I in essence, if something has changed in them after I speak to them, that makes me very happy. Yeah, I derive happiness from all these small things. If I've cooked for somebody, you know, katakan I invite my family, and my family knows this, you know, when I invite my family over to my house, I don't cater food, I cook. And then every time, you know, people tell me things like, இது ஏன் நீ செஞ்சு உனக்கு ட்ரபிளாக இருக்கும், உனக்கு டைம் இல்லை. நான் சொன்னேன், no, I enjoy doing this. My happiness is from stuff like this, you know. The fact that I did the job, I went out, I bought it, I came back, I planned it and I did it, and I'm feeding people, you know. So I think it's very important that you don't forget the little things in life.
All of your actions, from whatever I'm hearing, all of your thought process, your decisions, your what makes you happy, what do you like doing, and all this, right? You are deriving at some level any form of happiness from the people around you.
That's true. That's
So
true.
is that what you do?
Yes.
Okay.
For me, it comes from doing something for someone.
Okay.
Or doing
So
something.
your love language is acts of service.
I think so. I think people who know me personally will actually agree to these things. Yeah, they keep telling me, but it also can be something that brings me detriment.
Okay.
You know, my guru told me this before, because I tend to trust people face value. So pernah kena lah
Okay.
beberapa kali.
Okay.
But I always tell myself, பரவாயில்ல இருந்துட்டு போட்டோம். You know, we're
Like,
learning something from this.
What happens? Well, like what? Give me an
I've
example.
been cheated by
Okay.
people, scammed.
Okay.
You know, because I honestly feel, you know, education is empowerment, right? So even our community la pathina, I always try and tell people, like, you know, okay, yeah, we are actors and all of these things, but then you must always have some backup plan in your life. Okay. So education is one thing. Education is empowerment. So whatever you can do, try and get that, keep it in your hand, you know, so you have something to fall back on, right? So sometimes I feel macam number community la, I have met a lot of people where children don't go to school, and then they tell you, oh, I don't have a job, I don't have this, I don't have means to do this, I can't send my ni. Apram pata you tend to tolong diorang lah and say, okay, let me set this right for you. I set this right for you. That means you have income. Then your children can go to school, right? Then shouldn't be an excuse for that, kan? Yes. Apra pata is different story altogether. You know, it's not because they can't. It's because they've been doing this and they do it with other people, and it's because they have some bad habit, or you know, they just wanna, I don't know, it's just grown up in that sort of environment. I have been pernah kena lah banyak kali with people, but I always tell myself lah. Of course, my mom has scolded me sometimes, you know, and she's told me, my guru has told me this before, but I feel, but na adu seiyalana, that's not me.
Okay.
You know, I can't stop being myself.
Okay.
You know, I have to be myself, and na vandu learn pannanulla. If I don't make a mistake, how do you learn from that, right? So adanal all these things, you know, I feel idella oru lesson life la, you know, நம்ம learn பண்ணிட்டு போலாம். After all, what did I lose? Of course lah, you gonna cheat, you're gonna be like, oh my god, இது எப்படி அவங்க செய்ய முடியும்? How dare they, like, you know? Of course you feel things like that, but I don't go outburst and, like, you know, scream at people. இதெல்லாம் நான் செய்ய மாட்டேன். So I'm a bit, I guess you can call me weird, I don't know, but I always feel macam it's okay, you know, I'm not going to confront them, I'm not going to do whatever, because I believe that whatever they are doing, it will just come back to them after some time. How long are they going to continue doing this? They have to learn a lesson that they can't do that, right? But enna portha varaikum, I did what I can, you know. Also, when you do something, I think in my case, it is a natural nature of myself. Maybe that's why I don't get affected. Adukunu, I'm not saying I'm such a good person and I'm like, you know, oh, what a great human being. Adala onnu illa. I have my flaws as well. I have my weaknesses.
What are your flaws?
If that's what you're looking for,
I'm not. I'll be very honest. I'm not looking for
a perfect human being or whatever.
No one is.
I'm a human
No one
being,
is.
you know.
Yeah.
So I have flaws. Yeah, I think I like to do things. Some things, you know, some things. I like to do things last minute. Why? Because I feel macam my brain வந்துட்டு works better under pressure. I'll be able to create something really great if you gave me 2 hours to work on it, as opposed to 2 weeks to work on it.
Correct.
You know, something happens in my brain like that. So adu vandu sometimes puts people off lah in that sense, you know. So I'm like, please forgive me.
You delay until you.
Yeah, I procrastinate in that sense, you know.
I do that something. So I'll give you an example. My friends find me very weird. You know, you go to a restaurant. So you go to a restaurant and then you sit down and, you know, I hate. You go to a restaurant and then you take your time to order food.
Oh, okay.
I hate that because for me, எதுக்கு இங்க வந்திருக்கேன் சாப்பிட வந்திருக்கேன்.
Okay.
So I really know what I'm here for.
Chop.
Okay. Not that I have to like எல்லாத்தையும் டக்கு டக்கு சாப்பிடணும். I don't mind taking forever to eat. I'm very fine with slow eaters. So because I eat at a particular pace, I'm very fine with all that. But அங்க போயிட்டு எனக்கு டிசைட் பண்ண பிடிக்காது. So obviously there's different kind of people. Some people போறது முன்னுக்கு மெனுலாம் பார்த்துருவாங்க. அதெல்லாம் எனக்கு I'm not even that picky. I'm not even that anal. So I do this one trick which all my friends hate me for it. When I go to a restaurant, I'll call the waiter. I'll immediately call the waiter. So it puts you on the spot.
to
it puts you on the
order.
spot to so obviously the waiter will show face, right, if you don't not take your time.
Yeah, of course.
So I like to put myself in a position where I've say what you just say, I put pressure on myself so that what's good here, I get you'll order and go. So I completely get you with the idea of I like to put myself in a pressure situation so that I make decisions faster.
Yeah, yeah.
You're a people pleaser.
No, I'm not a people pleaser. I don't think I am. I wouldn't call myself that. I don't go out of my way to please people.
Okay.
But if I know that if I do this, then, like I said, when I reply to somebody, right? I don't take offense in things, So I sit down. For me, like now, I'm putting a film together. We're going to do a World War II film, right? So I know I'm going to deal with so many personalities on set, right? Everybody's going to come with an idea. But if I can sit down and I can talk to them, and I understand their triggers and their traumas. This is very, very important, right? It's very important to understand the triggers and traumas of the people that you're working with, and to acknowledge it and then try and work around it. Because then okay, I understand you as a person. Now I know why this opinion is coming out of you. So adanala I do that. But I don't do it to please them. I do it because I want to understand how to get the best out of you, It's all mindset, end of the day. You want to be, like Sadhguru. அன்னைக்கு ஒரு விஷயம், ஒரு பவர்ஃபுல்லான விஷயம் சொன்னாரு. When my grandfather passed away, it kind of gave me a mindset change, okay? He said, when somebody passes away, you lose a loved one. It's your choice if you want to live in the misery of losing somebody, or you live in the joy of celebrating the life that they led. It's just that, and yeah, so I kind of tend to do that, okay? So நம்ம இந்த விஷயம் செஞ்சா, why you want to sulk and sit down there and make your whole life miserable and people's life miserable in that sense, right? So it really depends on what situation it is.
Do you think and this is not me flirting, this is me genuinely asking, do you think beauty privilege exists?
I think it does. Obviously it does. We cannot dismiss that, right?
Pretty privilege ன்னு சொல்லுவாங்க.
But I think it really depends on I really think it depends on who you're dealing with, who you're talking with, For me, obviously, when I look at myself in the mirror, what I see as opposed to what you see and what other people see is very different. I can confirm that fact, I look like a monster to me.
எப்படி அழகா இருக்குறவங்க எல்லாமே இந்த பதில வச்சிருக்கீங்க.
But because this is we all have,
So you've never looked in the mirror and said,
all
actually,
have-
I'm pretty. Not. You've never.
I
looked
tried
in
to do that because
Okay.
because I tried to do that.
Okay.
But the fact is, we all have this
இல்ல, நான்
sort of
first-
like body dysmorphia, and because we don't tend to look at ourselves through our feelings as well, so on the day you're feeling terribly good, you're like, I feel good today, I look good today, right? That's what you wear. So yes, beauty privilege obviously is there, but I really think it depends on what your intentions are and where you want to go in life and stuff like that,
Let's say நானே சொல்றேனே, ஆமாப்பா உனக்கு என்னப்பா நீ அழகா இருக்க, வாழ்க்கையில எல்லாம் ஈஸியா இருக்கும்ல உனக்கு, எல்லாமே
this
கிடைச்சிரும்.
kind of things people have obviously people have said that to me, right?
How would you react? I mean, in your head at least, how would you usually react?
But for me, I feel like no, because people have dismissed saying things, even directors that I've met from outside of the country and all of that, certain parts of the country, the world, I mean, not the country, but for them, they have said these things until they have conversations with me, then they're like, oh, how do you know geography and history? How do you know these things? How do you know about this subject? So they tend to like, then they change their perception towards you, right? So yes, beauty privileges, they do exist. But I think for me, it has always been this, carrying yourself, grooming yourself, grooming your personality is very important. My father always told us this: wherever you are, whoever you're set with, effectively, how you carry yourself, first impressions are very important.
Aren't you tired? What I mean by that is, I've seen you running for God knows how long. You have been running is in running, not physically. Obviously, you are physically as well. But I've seen you go about this job that you keep using the word job. Honor your job. ஓடிக்கிட்டே இருக்கீங்க. ஒரு 10 வருஷம் ஆயிடுச்சா, 17 வருஷம். You said, how long have you been?
11 years.
11 years. So that's how do you define progress? Or how do you define success? What?
Yeah. You see, I don't have all of these 5-year goals.
Okay.
You know, I need to get somewhere. I don't have things like that. You know, I have targets. You know, I feel like I hope this is achievable, right? So I will meet people and I will travel for festivals and all of that, and then it comes to me, oh, end of the day, they are all human beings. You know, if we can get in touch with them somehow, if we are put in touch with them, we can work with them. All of these people that you think have, like, you know, and there's so much to learn, right? But for me, I Tula, you know, you see, I never planned to be an actor. And then I became an actor. And then I said, you know, I want to give this 150%, right? And I did. And then you come to this Kalai Ulagam, right? There's so much to do. What? You don't just have to be an actor, you know? Do I know an editor's job? No, I don't. I would love to know an editor's job. Do I know a graphic designer's job? No, I don't. I would love to know that. Do I know a writer's job? Yes, I do, because now I have been involved in writing. Do I know a director's job? No. You know, if you put me on a director's chair, no, I don't. So there's so many things for you to want to learn in this. And I am a person who likes to seek knowledge. So you put me in a territory like this, I'm thriving. I'm like, you know, for me, it doesn't matter that I got these awards and we received that and all of that. That's not the kind of things that I am going after in the industry. My idea is, if I can make movies that inspire people, you know, like we did with Adiwira, like we did with Gamanje, if we can talk about people that have been forgotten in our history, all of these people that did things for us. And then now I'm learning so many things that are not in our textbooks about World War II, about Japanese occupation, knowledge. I was like, damn, I didn't know about this, you know? And then I'm like, you know, I went and watched Monkey Man recently, you know, yesterday actually, in fact. Why I want to watch Monkey Man is because I want to know how he's done it differently, you know? So he's essentially, he's taken Indian concepts in film and he's put a Hollywood
Just do it.
professionalism into it.
Yeah. Technicalities to it. Yeah.
Yeah. So when I watched it, I'm like, that's what I'm after. How do I do that? How do I do this? You know? So I sat until the last end until the credit came on. I'm like, so when your focus is things like that, right? You don't go after, 2017 I won this award. Next, what award can I win? What kind of movies I can do to win a award? I never think like that. You know, so my thought process is always about, I am a knowledge seeker. You know, that makes me thrive. For me, anytime I'm sat with somebody and I'm learning some technical knowledge or I'm learning something about how I do things better in this, because like I said, the ecosystem with the film industry is huge. There's so many things that you can do. So after this, you know, actually, like, producers and directors in this country have been encouraging me to write for some reason. I don't see myself being a writer, but I've sat on scripts. My friends who are like internationally award-winning script writers have been asking me to start writing scripts. And I'm like, why, So they are seeing things that I can't see, you know. But or a conversation I was having with my friend, after 2 years of talking about this with her, I came to a revelation. Why I stopped writing is because there's no freedom of expression here. The things that I want to write, the things that I want to say, a lot of the things, like when you get into industry, you will have to deal with censorship and LPF, because that's the comfort zone, right?
Yeah.
You sit down there, no problem, nobody's going to come after you, nobody's going to question you, right? But I stopped writing because I'm like, but my mind doesn't work like this. My mind wants to write things that are like, we can talk about social justice, social problems, you know, politics, whatever it is, you know, that I want to talk about, things that we cannot talk about, things that have become taboo. So I'm like, okay, I've stopped writing because no freedom of expression. Maybe I should start writing. Then I think to myself, so how do we do this, right? And then now in the advent of OTT, streaming platforms and all of that, right? You see that regional is going international.
Yeah.
You know? So I think to myself, I want to make a film, but I want it to go international. I can't be sitting down regionally and thinking regionally, doing everything regionally, but I want
International fame.
Angigaram from like, international, yeah, paaka mattingranga, yeah, say mat. Because we are not learning, we are not opening ourselves up, you know. So last year, I tell you why I I'm not tired. I tell you why. Because last year, I packed my bags. I've never been to Cannes Film Festival. Don't know what it is. All I see is glamour of Aishwarya being there and this person being there and that. I only see the fashion side of it, right? But also there is the film side of things where things are very serious, right? People are getting nominated for this film and that film, and I watch all of these films when they come out, right? And I'm like, I want to be part of that. I packed my bags and I traveled all the way by myself to Cannes. I stayed there on my own, met absolute strangers, went into Marché du Film, spoke to random strangers, unashamed, non-embarrassed, just went and asked people questions, talked to them. And I told them, I want your experience. You know, can you please share your experiences with me? You know, I want to make films like you make. I want to write films like you do, you know. So how can I get tired? There's just so many things for you to do.
Why can't I see one good Malaysian Tamil film apart from X, Y, and Z?
This is my personal opinion, right? I see that locally, obviously, we don't have studios. You know, we don't have like Fox Studio and like, you know, Disney.
Production houses.
We don't have studios like that where scripts are taken in, developed, people are hired, professionals are trained to do these things. We don't have that, right? Let's be real about that. So what we have here is most of the creative people relying on either TV channels or grants, right? We are relying on this. The creative industry is relying on this, right? So, and then
Is this the case with Malay industry? Because I wouldn't know much about the Malay
industry is a lot more independent.
Okay.
In that sense, they are a lot more independent because they rake box office hits and all of these things.
So they have producers who come
Indian
in with
movie
the
industry
money.
is still very reliant on this, right? So you will see a lot of the creative industry people who are coming in or have been still relying on this for income because they can't be independent yet, right? So when these things are handed out, are given to them, there is no QC. You know, there is no quality control. So the same things that they will produce for YouTube, for example, you know, because filmmaking and TV series making today in the advent of OTT platforms are very different. They are professionally very different. But when you allow, you give money to somebody to do this, but you don't have enough QC, you know, you don't tell them that this is not good enough, we need to improve on this, or you don't give them the kind of backup, you don't give them the kind of support, they create the same thing that they would do, for example, a short film on YouTube, you will see the same thing on TV, for example. How are they going to improve? This is probably why you don't see, like you said, because once you give them that, for them they are like, oh, now I'm a director. Now I can do this. Oh, I've already done it for this platform or whatever. Because they gave me this validation that now I'm a director. Now I'm a DOP.
இவங்களே ஓகேன்ட்டாங்கன்னா அப்போ
Exactly. So these are the people that should be training these people.
How difficult or how easy is it to be an actor and then still lead a decent dating life? Is it difficult dating as Sangeeta Krishnasamy?
No. Why?
அதான் கேள்வி
So it
கேட்குறேன்.
depends on what you think Sangeeta Krishnasamy is like.
இல்லை ஒரு 1.5 hour பேசிட்டு இருக்கேன், எனக்கே தெரியல, அதான் கேட்குறேன். How difficult is it?
If you can't convince, you confuse.
Okay. அது மட்டும் தான் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்கீங்க வந்ததுலேருந்து நீங்க.
Yes, sir.
இவ்வளவு தூரம் மங்கி மேன் ஃபிலிம் LPF பத்தி பேச ஒரு நிமிஷத்துல தவறல. டேட்டிங் லைஃப்னு சொன்னா பயப்படுறீங்களா?
இல்லையே, பயப்படலையே.
You're crossing your hands. It means you're...
No? Oh, you're studying body language or human behavior now.
I'm a psychology
Fantastic.
student. But
Yeah, I know that.
I've never seen Sangeeta this nervous.
Why is it difficult?
Sangeeta Krishnasamy இருக்கிறது.
Oh, என்ன?
பசங்க
How
எவ்வளவு
difficult
கஷ்டம்?
is it to date me?
How difficult is it for you to date? நீங்க
I'm in a relationship.
அதெல்லாம்
So
புரியுது எனக்கு.
dating is beyond.
ஓகே, நான் சொல்றது வந்து இப்போ நீங்க டேட்டிங்ல இருக்கீங்க இல்லையா? பட் ஒரு 11 வருஷமா ஒரு ப்ராசஸ் நடந்திருக்கும்.
ஆமா.
ஸோ அந்த ப்ராசஸை சொல்றேன்.
I spend more time outside my home than inside my home, right? So, you know, it's not easy, but I think
Is it difficult to...
ஏன் இன்னும் கல்யாணம் பண்ணாம இருக்கேன்னு கேக்குறியா?
சீச்சி அது
இல்லையா? சரி.
அது எல்லாரும் நான் கேட்க நான்
இல்ல யாரும் என்ன கேக்குறது இல்ல, அதான்.
அத ஆசைப்படுறீங்களா? இல்ல எனக்கு புரியல.
இல்ல I'm just thinking, Because
Maybe you don't look like you're old
very
enough.
interesting question. This is a very interesting question because nobody has actually asked me. I think it's pretty easy because I don't think I'm somebody who comes with expectations. I don't think I'm high maintenance in that sense.
அது எல்லாரும் எப்படி எல்லாரும் இப்படியே சொல்றீங்க?
Yes, but of course it's not easy lah. Obviously it's not easy because there's a lot of things that comes with you being an actor, you know. So I have seen my partner getting restless, not annoyed but restless when we go to events, when I have to do my thing, you know, when I have to spend time with journalists and people, which I love to do. I find
Joy
it's not easy for them to, because they really need to understand what your life is, you know. I'm not saying it's difficult, but it is what it is, you know. It's not like we are Hollywood people, like where paparazzis are following you and all of that. It's just, I think it's not, because we, you know, when we love what we do, okay, when we do films, TV series and all of that, when we go out and we talk to people and we go for our events and stuff, we love stuff like this, kan? That's why you can catch up. That's why you catch up with your friend. That's why you gossip. That's why you bitch about things, you know. Like that's why you do like, okay, then you say, oh, what I liked about this, what I don't like. So you get sucked into that world lah. You forget your life. உன் வாழ்க்கையை அப்படியே மறந்துடுவீங்க. ஒரு மனுஷனை கூட்டிட்டு வந்துமே அதெல்லாம் போயிடும் அந்த டைம்ல. So it's not easy obviously because people need to you know, people need to engage with us in that sense. It's not easy.
You obviously you're playing a role that is not common, meaning you're doing a job that is not common. In Malaysia, it is not common for an actor who's a female actor to have this long shelf life.
It's very important to know what your branding is. That's very important for me. And I've done this from day one. So when I first got into the acting industry, in that sense, I had a lot of offers from the Malay movie industry, but it was all for like, and the girl lead or the friend,
kawan heroine
benda macam ni semua I tak buat. Because for me I'm like, no, I want to build my brand, you know. So I think that's very important.
What traumas do you think you have that might have affected you in your previous relationship that you think now that you think back, okay, maybe இதெல்லாம் இருந்ததனால தான் வந்து I think it affected me as a partner. Now that think back about it, okay, I should have. Now I mean I am working on that to be a better partner now. But obviously at one point it would have affected your relationships.
I am a stubborn person. I know this, although I don't admit it. When my partner tells me this, I get very upset. How dare you call me stubborn? But I can be very stubborn. It's because I have been very individualistic. A lot of people who have been individuals making decisions for their own life.
Single child?
No.
Okay.
But I have been very individualistic in that sense, you know. So you live your life macam tu kan. You earn your own money, you pay your own bills, right? And then you live a life, you make decisions for yourself. Nobody asked me to be an actor. I chose to be an actor. I make my mistakes, I own my mistakes, you know. I've always been like that.
இதுல வந்து இப்படி நீ என்கிட்ட சொல்லலாம்
அந்த மாதிரிலாம் இல்ல. I'm not gender biased, by the way. எனக்கு வந்து ஒரு ஆண்னா இப்படி பேச முடியாது, ஒரு பொண்ணுனா இப்படி, அதெல்லாம் I don't. For me, human. Individual is individual, right? People come with their problems and whatever. But the thing is, like, I think I have trust issues.
Okay.
எனக்கு trust issues ரொம்ப இருக்கு because individualistic. நான் இண்டிவிஜுவலா இருந்து நான் சொந்தமா எனக்கு டிசிஷன் எடுத்துக்கிட்டதுனால, now when I have a partner, okay, for example, being an actor, right? Obviously everybody would have expected me to become a lawyer and blah blah and blah blah, right? But I didn't. I became an actor. So I made those choices. I went into bankruptcy. I went everything lah, whatever that an artist should go through, everything I've been through, right? But
it was your mistakes. You own the mistakes.
My decision, right? So now if you have partner, and then partners sometimes they give you advice, right? Lepas tu you macam, no, I know this better.
Salt and pepper நான் தான சாப்பிட்டேன்.
So when they tell you things like, you know, maybe you shouldn't be working, இவங்க கூட நீ வேலை செய்ய கூடாது அந்த மாதிரினா,
அத சொல்றதுக்கு நீ யாரா நாயே அப்படிலாம் சொன்னீங்களா? இல்ல
அப்படிலாம் சொல்ல மாட்டேன்.
நீ யாரா நாயே அப்படிங்களா?
I said no, நீ வந்து அட்வைஸ் கொடுக்கலாம், ஆனா அந்த அட்வைஸை நான் எடுத்துக்கிறேனா இல்லையா அது என்னோட டிசிஷன்.
இந்த சோறு நான் என் காசுல ஏன் ஜட்டி ஏன் அண்டர்வேர் என்ன பண்ணாது.
ஸோ அதனால அதனால வந்துட்டு பிரச்சனை வரும். பிகாஸ் தென் பார்ட்னர்ஸ் எல்லாம் லைக் திஸ் உனக்கு தெரியும் இந்த விஷயம்.
ஏன் எனக்கு தெரியும்?
ஏன்னா இப்படி சொல்லுவாங்க, சரி நீ கேட்கறனா கேட்டுக்க, நீ கேட்கலன்னா அப்புறம் நீ உனக்கு வரும்ல, அப்புறம் வந்துட்டு என்ன சொல்லுவாங்க, ஐ டோல் யூ கேன், நான் சொன்னதானே,
நான் சொன்னதே இல்லையே.
இதுதான் வந்து எனக்கு வந்து இன்னும் ட்ரிகர் பண்ணும். எனக்கு இன்னும் ட்ரிகர் பண்ணும். ஐம் லைக் பரவாயில்ல இருந்துட்டு போகட்டும், யூ லேர்ன் a lesson from this, right? இட்ஸ் ஓகேல, என்னோட மிஸ்டேக் நான் ஏர்ன் பண்ணிக்கிறேன், நான் தானே சஃபர் பண்றேன், உனக்கு ஏதாச்சும் வச்சா இல்லை தானே.
சுத்தா வலிக்க போகுது, ஏன் சுத்தா வலிக்க போகுது.
நீ 4 நாள் தூங்காம இருந்த, நான் தானே 4 நாள் தூங்காம இருந்தேன் வேலை செஞ்சுட்டு, பரவாயில்ல, யூனோ. So benda macam tu lah. So it's not easy because நான் வந்துட்டு I have been very independent lah. I'm a very very independent person. I don't rely on anything from anyone.
ரிலேஷன்ஷிப்ல இருக்க வேண்டிய ஒரு விஷயம், இருக்கக்கூடாத ஒரு விஷயம். What do you think?
ஐயோ,
இருக்கக்கூடாத விஷயத்தை I think you just touched upon it, which is shouldn't tell people what to do with their lives.
You give advice is fine, but don't expect people to, அந்த எக்ஸ்பெக்டேஷன் கிரியேட் பண்ற பத்தியா. நான் இப்ப சொன்னேனே, என் வார்த்தையை நீ மதிச்சு நீ செய்யணும், அதெல்லாம் இருக்கக்கூடாது. அந்த மாதிரி இருந்தா மேமாங் நாசமா தான் போவோம். அது ஹெல்ப் பண்ண முடியாது. அப்புறம்
give me one, if you don't mind, don't need to go into details, but give me one example of a fight that you think, இந்த மாதிரி வாழ்க்கையில் இந்த மாதிரி நான் சண்டையே போடக்கூடாது, நான் கற்றுக்கிட்டேன், அவங்களும் கற்றுருப்பாங்க,
நான் சண்டை போடணும்.
இல்லை வாட் ஐம் சேயிங் இஸ், ஒரு 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 இந்த சப்ப மேட்டருக்காக அவ்வளோ சண்டை போட்டோம். ஓகே, மூவிங் ஃபார்வர்ட் ஐ ஷுட் லேர்ன் டு நாட்.
எல்லாமே சப்ப மேட்டர் தான்.
ஓகே,
தெரியுமா, எல்லாத்துக்கும் சும்மா சண்டை போடுறது. பட் ஐ திங்க் சண்டை போடுறது சம்டைம்ஸ் இம்பார்ட்டன்ட் தான். நீ ஒரு சைக்காலஜிஸ்ட், உனக்கு தெரியணும். You need to take shit that's backed up in you out, right?
And dump it
and
on
then
someone
you feel
else.
Better, right? Let them dump also. Okay. You take it, right? And then after it suddenly you feel better. Wow, I feel better about myself, right?
இருக்க வேண்டிய விஷயம், ரிலேஷன்ஷிப் இருக்க வேண்டிய விஷயம்,
you need to be emotionally available. Emotionally available இருக்கணும். I think that's very important.
Okay, let's start being generic about it. As a woman, you have obviously gone through multiple stages of relationship, I'm assuming. At this stage in your life, you have sort of experienced that typical school, high school love, I'm sure, that you have experienced that typical, that very butterfly, everything's perfect in life, that kind of boyfriend you'd have seen that. And when you go into the adult life, you would have seen that one, you would have seen a toxic guy, you've seen different types of men that have come to your life. Yeah. As a woman, what do you think, இது பார்த்துக்கிட்டு இருக்கிற ஒரு young girl who's probably going through because it's going to start her own love life, she's looking at this and you want to tell her, you would meet this kind of men, this is how you deal with it, how would you advise that young girl?
It's very difficult. For me, I've had very practical moments about love. Maybe it's just me, the way I grew up and I saw things. I've only had very practical moments about love. In the Tamil படத்துல வரும் தெரியுமா, butterfly love summa, I have never really experienced things like that. I have, but not to that extent, not to the fantasy sort of. So for me, I think,
what's the most cringiest
I think, first of all, you need to be very careful about how much you invest into something unless you know about it 100%. So I have seen so many situations as well where women, they invest their entire being to somebody. Men also, not just saying women, they invest themselves 100% into something, but then they don't realize that people's priority changes, especially when over the time, things change, priority change. So you build everything around something like this. The first you go to a point where it also becomes part of your life, it affects your life. It stunts your growth. Your aspirations are now put on hold because you're like, I found this, I want to focus on this, I want to nurture, I want to do everything for this person, right? That's very dangerous for me. Whatever it is, do not let go of your goal.
Have you been in that sort of situation, you think?
I have overcome those things. Okay. I think that's why today I'm here in terms of my career and all of that. I never allowed that to come. So I always tell people, you cannot be one. You have to be a symbiosis. Like, two circles coming together, and then in the middle you will have this thing that you have in common, right? That's what you need to be. But you still need to be this.
You have to be a one whole circle by yourself.
Yes, and then that circle comes together and you have that, thesis, antithesis, synthesis. You know this, right? So you need to be that. But the moment you want to merge yourself with someone and do this, I think it's very dangerous. But then again, people's mistakes are their own. You make your own mistakes, you own your own mistakes, you learn from it.
What should be the number one thing that women should look for in a relationship?
People's priorities are different. What I want, what I look for is not necessarily.
Okay, what do you look for? Which
I like somebody who is emotionally available in the sense that, I'm very expressive person, I like to talk. Somebody needs to tolerate me, So the moment I'm done with a meeting or something and something has happened, something tak kena, something tak betul, I need to immediately call my partner, I need to express these things. I need to say these things, And you need somebody who will acknowledge it, who is there, who is emotionally available in that sense. I think that's very important because you build your trust and you build your relationship around something like that.
What's been the most just so that men out there can learn, what's been obviously இப்போ ரொம்ப ட்ரெண்டிங்காக பேசப்படுற விஷயம் core memoryன்னுவாங்க. Like certain things, so this is my core memory, இதெல்லாம் மண்டையிலேருந்து ஒட்டிக்கிச்சு, இதெல்லாம் the memoriesலாம். So in your life, what has been give me 3 examples of a core memory that men could be an existing partner or it could be a previous ex-boyfriend. Your boyfriend won't watch this podcast, I'm sure. That you think ஒரு ஆண் it doesn't have to be something that romantic, but இதெல்லாம் என் வாழ்க்கையில பண்ணிருக்காங்க. These are the core memories that I appreciated as a woman when a man did this.
I liked one incident. I still remember and when a guy actually wants you to look good when you go out, wants you to look good and be admired, that's nice, right?
Yeah.
And more often than not, there are problems where it's opposite, right? But it was a nice incident where I was taken to a shop to buy shoes.
Cute.
And he actually put the shoes on my feet, he actually slipped it into my feet and told me to walk, I want to see how you look like, those sort of things. I think that like I said, those small things,
like a man
like
that
things.
is not insecure about
exactly
how you look, wants you to look
yes,
good actually.
A man that is not insecure about how you look, wants you to carry yourself well, stuff like that. And I think that gives your partner in that sense a boost not just for women, it's for men as well. If you did that for your partner, I think that's those are the intimate moments that you have that actually defines how much of a partnership you have in a relationship in that sense.
Are you the kind of person that there's 2 types of people in the world, from what I've noticed. You can always
நீ பெரிய சைக்காலஜி ஸ்டூடெண்ட்னால நீ கன்க்ளூட் பண்ணிட்ட
conclude
உலகத்துல
இல்ல.
ரெண்டு
இது
மாதிரி
ஒண்ணு
ஆளு தான்
இங்க
இருப்பாங்க.
இருப்பாங்க இல்ல இங்க இருப்பாங்க. இதுக்கு as you said, you don't like people boxing you, Sangeeta, but the truth is there are boxes to people. The simple people, even when they're simple people.
I don't believe in that.
We always think
How many emotions are there? How many emotions are there?
good and bad, அவ்வளவுதான். There's a ரெண்டு box தான். There's good emotions, bad emotions.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying? They
If
can
you
be
simplify things that way lah.
so there's good 2 kinds of people, right? Some people center their life around relationships.
Okay.
Which is not to say that they are so into it where they can't say anything else, but நான் எதுக்கு சம்பாதிக்கிறேன், நான் எதுக்கு வேலை செய்கிறேன், நான் எதுக்கு இதை நோக்கி போகிறேன், இதெல்லாம் ஒரு கட்டத்தில் I want to start a family, I want to have a relationship.
Yeah.
The relationship is the center of my goal of life. Some people look at relationships like how they look at job. Okay, எனக்கு இதெல்லாம் இந்த எலிமெண்ட்ஸ்லாம் தேவை to feel fulfilled in life. Where do you there's no other third part of this. There's only 2 people.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You need to find you need to okay, so this you said this is this, right? You need to combine it and then you find that middle ground.
Where do you fall? Are you, for example, நான் எக்ஸாம்பிள் கேட்குறேன், இப்போ நாளைக்கே ஒரு ஹாலிவுட் ஆஃபர் வருதுன்னு வைங்களேன், would you prioritize at that point?
My partner will tell me to prioritize that. Because that's the kind of person I have chosen to be with. And if he does, I will do the same. I'm like, pack your bags and go. Yeah, because what's going to be lost? What's going to be lost? I'm still going to be here, or I'll come looking for you. That's the worst that can happen, right? Like you're going to be away from, what's the worst that can happen? You're just going to be away from each other for a while. So unless, that's why I said, if your whole entire focus of life becomes this one person, you just invest in that, every day you just look forward to doing that, then little bit of a difference, temperature change happens, you will start to feel uncomfortable with it.
Separation anxiety னு சொல்லுவாங்க அது.
Correct. Which is something that happened to us after the pandemic. Happened to me as well with my cats. They had separation anxiety from me and I had the same as well. So yeah, I would rush back home. But what I'm saying is, you need to be very careful of this, because if you don't, then, you know, I mean, katakanlah, his entire life he's had this dream of like going to Hollywood or Collywood or whatever to do this sudden, and out of the 10 years of wanting and working for it, and he said suddenly come, and then now you have this thing weighing you down, right? That's not really, that's not something you would want for your partner, having known his aspiration, kan. So I think things like that will somehow will kind of work out. But I think it is also good for you to go through separation anxiety, because that teaches you something too, right? Most people are afraid to put themselves through emotions. I find that to be a bit of a thing. What is wrong in missing someone? You know? You know, people say missing makes the heart grow fonder. Memang betul lah. Hari-hari aku tengok muka kau, then jaded lah.
Bored of it. Yeah.
Let me miss you. Go, you know? What's wrong with that? Maybe, you know, maybe this is what's kept me going in relationships, right? Because like I'm not there all the time, you know. For me, I say this from day one, right? You know, I'm a traveler. I'm always away.
So you don't like to travel with your partner?
I do.
Okay.
But I do like doing it on my own as well. Okay. Yeah, it's always been my thing, because I rejuvenate macam tu, I reset macam tu. I have to quiet ni semua, and I do it on my own. You know, and my partners know this, because I tell them this from day one. I don't shock them suddenly out of nowhere, like, you know, tiba-tiba, like, you know, 5 years down the road they're like, no, I have to pack my bags and go alone, and I'm a traveler and I'm a nomad. No, tak ada lah. So they know these things about me. So I think allow yourself to miss somebody. Allow you're a human being, kan? You're not a robot, you're not AI. You have a heart. Allow yourself to feel these things. It's fine. You know? That's I feel like that. So I wouldn't want to put myself into like category A than category B. I don't belong in any of that. And I always tell myself one thing lah. Okay, this is to answer your previous question, right? I never want to be master of one.
Okay.
You know, because last time they used to say jack of all trades, master of none, right? As if it was a bad thing. But I'd rather be jack of all trades.
Actually, third line இருக்கு, மறந்துட்டாங்க நிறைய பேர். It's jack of all trades, master of none, but it's better to be good at one thing சொல்லுவாங்க.
Yes. But I have not been that person. I'll be honest, I've not been that person. I want to be jack of all trades. I want to learn everything, you know? So I'm like that. I take that sort of like approach in everything that I do as well, you know? So like emotions, feel it. Why? Why are people so afraid? Why? Okay, so katakan like you said lah, your partner's going away, right? And you're like, okay, let him go lah. I want to feel what it is in his absence, you know? Why not?
But
Why are people afraid of these things? Unless you're dependent on someone, that they have morning wake up, he does your breakfast, your coffee, lunch. That's different lah. Then you become then you become incapacitated, right? Somebody is not doing this, you cannot cook for yourself. Order, grab and eat lah. But what I'm saying is, I mean, it's a lame example. But what I'm saying is, like, you know, I think people should not hold on to something and keep it like that lah. It cannot be lah. Two people getting together cannot be like that.
do you find yourself difficult because you get attention all the time growing up? I'm assuming in your you know, as long as you become an adult, I'm assuming attention comes very easy to you, like from men, for example. எனக்குலாம் வந்து growing up, ஒரு பொண்ணுலாம் வந்து ஹாய் அப்படின்னாலே எனக்குலாம் வந்து நாலு ஃபுல்லாக தூங்க மாட்டேன். ஏன்னா வந்து நம்மளுக்கு தான் நடக்காது நார்மலாக. யூஸ்வலி ஒரு கேர்ள் வந்து ஹாய் பாய்ன்னு சொல்கிறதுலாம் வந்து ஹாய்ன்னு சொன்னாலே வந்து ராத்திரி ஃபுல்லாக வந்து அதெல்லாம் வந்து கண்டிப்பாக நான் லவ் பண்ணதில்லை, அது கூட நான் வந்து எப்போ கல்யாணம் பண்ணலான்ற அதெல்லாம் மைண்டில் ஓடும்.
ரொம்ப தமிழ் படம் பார்த்து
தமிழ் படம் இது ஆம்பளைங்களுக்கும் இருக்கிற ஒரு
இப்ப சொன்ன பாத்தியா, this is the difference between boys and girls, right?
Okay.
There is a difference. Like, I don't think girls really, well, I suppose we do, but then it really depends.
See, pretty girls go through it differently than non-pretty girls. Ugly guys.
I don't believe in that. I
Yeah,
don't
because you
believe in
because you
like
get attention easily.
beauty is very subjective.
ஐயோ அது எனக்கு புரியுது இது திருப்பி திருப்பி அங்கே வரக்கூடாதுன்ற what I'm trying to say is okay as a woman you get hit on very easily.
Of course.
Okay, so
But not in a cringe way lah.
அதெல்லாம்
Maybe because I don't put myself in situations where there are cringe people.
நான் அங்கே போவே
I don't
இல்லைன்றேன்.
know. Okay.
You get attention from men easily.
Of course.
Okay, so does
All
that
women do.
no அதான் நானும் சொல்கிறேன் not all women get attention. நீங்கள் அசிங்கமாக இருந்தீங்கன்னா attention கொடுப்பியாடா correct or not? Same thing. Okay, when you were single, obviously you're more likely to give attention to someone you find attractive. Yes.
Okay.
No? Correct. So that's what I'm coming back to, which is as a woman who gets attention easily.
Okay.
Do you find yourself over time devalue attention? Meaning, because
Meaning I don't value attention that
as
I get.
much as you think you should have.
I don't value attention
Okay.
because I always told myself like I don't want it to get to my head. Because I come with a certain thing, right? Like I want to do something or I'm here for a purpose or whatever. And then I don't value it at all. To a point where people have actually conditioned me and trained me to say thank you. Just take it as a compliment and say thank you.
இப்போ வந்து someone does something sweet to you, but let's say buying you a coffee. Okay, let's say I'm assuming in your life you've had men
I don't drink coffee, but okay.
so I'm assuming men some like okay
Okay.
கேட்ட
Somebody
கேள்வி கஷ்டமா இருக்கு.
buys me
For
a
example, someone
beverage.
does something sweet
Okay.
to you, right?
So buying a beverage is sweet lah.
Maybe if you enjoy the beverage, don't you do that?
Okay.
If a man ஒரு ஆளு இது கால சப்பாத்து போட்டு விட்டா மட்டும் ஸ்வீட் உங்களுக்கு தண்ணி
அது
கொடுத்து
எவ்வளவு பெரிய வேலை தெரியுமா?
அதான் நானும்
உன் சைஸை தேடி கீழே உட்காந்து உன் நாத்தக்கால பிடிச்சி
okay, bare minimum but sure.
You know,
What I'm trying to get at is it difficult to appreciate something?
no, it's not at all. I love when people do something to me. I make it a point to go to them and tell thank you.
Yeah.
அதில் நான் தடுவரவே மாட்டேன் because I really appreciate the little things that people do for me.
Okay.
So now I have learned, okay, before I was very insensitive to people giving me compliments.
Correct.
Now
That's what I meant.
don't. So now I don't. I make it a point, if somebody gives me a compliment, I go and tell them thank you very much.
I think on a final note and a final set of what would be Sangeeta's story, message ரொம்ப கேவலமாக இருக்கும், but what would be the story that you want to kind of to a young girl, if you can take this from my life so far that I think I want to impart on you, that I think as a young 18-year-old 19-year-old girl myself, I wish an adult women have kind of shared this with me. This might have kind of added a lot of value to my life growing up. I didn't have that chance. Now I want to give you. What do you think?
I think, you know, if you have a goal in your life about yourself, right, doesn't necessarily have to be profession, I want to do this and I want to earn this much or whatever. You must have some sort of like goal to be independent, right? And how you work towards that goal to sustain that independence is very important. Because today we live in a world where women are independent, very independent. They don't rely on like previously, obviously from our mom's generation to our grandmother's generation is very different, right? Women are independent. Women have their own aspirations. They have their own things that they want to do and all of that. I think when you don't come from, I didn't come from a very well-to-do background in that sense. I came from a challenging background. But when everyone was pulling me down around me, saying that just go and, be normal, go and find a job. Why you want to study? Why you want to do these kind of things? Why are you should be working and looking after your family. Why you want to go into all of this? Why do you want to have dreams? Why do you want to have aspirations, right? These were the things that were kind of told to me when I was growing up and I left school and stuff. But I stood steadfast against that. So I said, okay, no problem. I'll work, I will work. I will provide. I will do things, but I still want to educate myself. I still want to do these things, So I sort of like did all of those things that I can to also realize my goal in that sense, like my independence, My independence was very important for me. Growing up, I never wanted to rely on anyone, till today, I've not taken a single cent. Ever since I left school, till today, I've not taken a single cent. Of course, people have come forth to help me with my education and stuff like that. But I've never unnecessarily gone and taken
Yeah.
money from somebody, so that is very important. It's like it's something that you need to it's a plan that you need to have in that sense to like be independent. So that allows you to do whatever you want.
Yeah.
So having a mindset like that when I was leaving school has allowed me to become an actor and also allowed me to create my independence as an actor, which is why I think it answers your question as to how I've sustained as an actor in this industry. So and when I came into acting, I never thought I want to be an actor forever. Now I've become a producer. I've produced my first film. I'm producing my second film, and then so that goes on. That journey kind of goes on, and then you meet other people and you do other projects, and in this industry it's always about meeting people and and building business.
Yeah.
Show business is business. End of the day.
Yeah.
It's not just all glam and glitz, right?
Yeah.
What goes on at the back. Understanding psychology of people, all of this comes in that, so for me, but I never lost that one thing, is I never lost my independence in that sense, so I'm financially independent, and I'm independent to make my choices as to what I want to do, so I think that's really important lah. But it really, really depends on your circumstances, where you come from, what allows you to to allow you to become that. For me, I have to thank, I grew up in a family of very independent, powerful, strong women, who lost their husbands at a young age and managed to look after and bring up the family and educate everyone. And so I already had like a
Great role models.
great role models, yeah. And then I had my own challenges growing up because I'm not taking the path they are taking. I am now building my own path. So when I'm taking my path now, all the challenges that are going to, hurdles that are going to come are different from that. Times are different, right? So I allowed myself to go through those things. But I honestly had a lot of people that came forth to help me to get where I am. So what I'm saying is, when you are steadfast with that goal, that you want to do this, right? That you want to go forth and do this, right? People will come out of their way to help you.